So while I was on prep, sometimes dairy bothered my stomach, so I took it out. But the other day I was like, I really want some yogurt. So I picked this up, and this was like $4 or $5 at the grocery store. It's just a 4-pack. And here's the calories and macros. So 80 calories, 0 grams of fat, 9 carbs, and 12 grams of protein. And they're pretty good. But then yesterday, while I was at Aldi, I found these, and it's like the imitation of those. And same exact macros, pretty much 80 calories. This one actually has 8 grams of carbs, 0 fat, 12 grams of protein, and they're surprisingly really good. They taste exactly the same. So, sorry I didn't show it to you, but I was so hungry. I ate that, and then I had 2 rice cakes, and I topped it with this. And on top of a rice cake, it makes it taste like an oatmeal raisin cookie. It's absolutely amazing. So I had that and a cup of coffee, and then I have some client emails I have to do. I have some video editing, some programs, different things. I'm going to lift today, probably like 1 o'clock, and today is day 2 of my training program, and I'm going to take you with me. So I will see you then. Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. And this is day 2 of my training program, so I'm so happy you have decided to come along and see what I'm doing for it. So I usually do perform a small warm-up before I go into my heavier movements, so if you would like to see one, let me know and I can be sure to film it. For this day, day 2, I started with glute marches, and these are an end range hip extension exercise that focus on primarily the glutes and your hip flexors. In these, you are alternating between bent leg hip extension isoholds for the right and left hips, while alternating between right and left side bent leg hip flexion. Wow, that's a mouthful. I am keeping a neutral spine, and I'm making sure I'm bridged up as high as possible. With this, it is very easy for your glutes to drop and to skip out on the important part of the exercise, so I make sure my glutes are squeezed the entire time. And this is a really good warm-up to activate the glutes. Next, I moved on to Romanian deadlifts with band tension. With this, you want to have the same focus as a regular Romanian deadlift. I do talk about it in my last video, so be sure to watch day 1 if you haven't. And the only difference with this is that the band is creating added tension. So as I'm coming up, I am forced to squeeze against the band. The biggest thing to focus on is hinging at the hips, so essentially taking a bow and then squeezing very hard as you come up against your band. You can also play around with the height of where the band is attached to the fixed object to get the most out of the movement. Next was barbell bench presses, and it is personal preference for your back positioning, meaning you can keep it flat on the bench or you can arch it. For myself, I pull my feet up under the body and create a big arch in my lower back. I make sure my feet are planted firmly on the ground and squeeze my glutes tightly. Breathing, as with any exercise, is key, so as the reps get more and more difficult, I take a second to take in a big breath of air, perform the rep, and then let it out. And as you can see, I was very excited because I was pressing 100 pounds and I got all 12 reps that I was shooting to get. So moving on are straight arm pull downs, and oftentimes the arms take over when performing heavy back movements. So this is a great shoulder extension exercise to target the lats. And the lats really help to create that nice V taper and give the illusion of a smaller waist. So the biceps and the mid-back aren't involved in a straight arm pull down when performed correctly and can't be used to compensate. So that's why I like these. And to do them, I keep my palms facing down and really focus on using my lats to pull the bar down. If you do feel it too much in your triceps, just lower the weight. And also, don't be afraid to play around with different angles of your torso to get the more out of the movement. So for example, standing more upright will target more of your lower lats, whereas standing with a slight hinge in the hips and the upper body forward will put more stress on the upper lat. Next is alternating front to side raises, and I really like this exercise, especially when you're kind of like trying to wrap up your workout, or you just want to get in more volume. So you are essentially completing 2 exercises in one. And I do like to change it up and perform overhead work for shoulders as well, but day 3 of my program has an overhead shoulder movement, so I have stuck to these. Make sure you aren't using momentum and you are keeping your arms straight but aren't locking out the elbows, and I perform 24 to 30 with a lower weight, and that is just how I'm getting in more volume. seated band abduction, and you can perform these on a machine, but I do like them on a bench with resistance bands because I personally feel them more in my glutes. There are a few variations that you can do with this by just adjusting the height of your seated position or simply just changing your torso placement. So I am leaning forward slightly because this allows me to feel it in my upper glutes more. So just feel free to play around with the bench height and your torso placement until you feel it where you want to target. Also, this can be done with any other exercise as well, but if you aren't feeling it in the area you should be, I will sometimes touch or palpate the area to feel what muscle is engaged. And I will often do this to clients, or if it is like their glute or something, have them do it themselves and they don't know what muscle is working, and that helps to really give your brain some positive feedback when it comes to muscle activation. And those who are really new to lifting or even just performing a new exercise can really benefit from doing this. Finally, I finished with ab wheel rollouts. I often see people with their lower back arched, rocking back and forth performing this exercise. So instead, to get the most out of it, keep your pelvis slightly tucked, glutes squeezed, and your hips stable. Keep your arms straight as possible and only go down as far as you can without letting your lower back lose its positioning, and do that like arch. When you come up, don't come all the way back onto your feet, but instead keep the hips in the same position as when you started. If you are able to complete full reps and want more of a challenge, you can add chains for more weight. And feel free to add in any conditioning or finish your day with your usual cardio. But for this, I just ended there. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you all for day 3 of my training program. Bye everyone.
So I had a few people ask me what I use to track my food, and I use MyFitnessPal. And I have used it for the past 456 days. I've used it longer than that, but if you miss a day, it starts you over at 0. So for 456 days, I have logged in with not missing one day. But yes, so yesterday, I'm trying to do this through my phone or through the camera, so it's really weird. But yesterday I had about 1446 for calories. I'm trying to shoot between 1500 and 2000. Just on a really crazy lifting day, I might go up to 2000, trying to stay around 1800. So for me, knowing what I ate, my peak week would be amazing, because if it didn't bother my stomach and it looked really good on show day, then I could go back and see exactly what I ate. So I had on Thursday some egg whites, a salad, some rice cakes. I can see what I ate on specific days and know. So that's why I like it. And yeah, it's also free, so super easy to keep track of all of your food.
Now that the weather is getting cooler up in the northeast, I am starting to want to eat some more hearty meals, so I made this delicious soup. I got the idea from Valentina. She made a soup, and I kind of just made a spin-off on it and made it like a hot and sour soup. It is very delicious. This is the chicken broth I used, and then for this entire pot, which is a ton of volume, you get 250 calories, 5 fat, 17 carb, and 32 protein, so be sure to look in the description box for the full recipe. And that is going to conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed, and here is day 2 of my training program once again. Don't forget to watch day 1 if you haven't, and then stay tuned because day 3 will be posted very soon. So thank you everyone so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will see you next week. And thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.
And today I'm going to take you on day 1 of my program, so I hope you enjoy.